Every hero in Dota 2 is good at something, yes, even IO. But if you're coming to the game fresh, the number of heroes and all the lingo surrounding them can be a tad impenetrable. Who should you play with if you're just starting out? Why does it matter which lane you play them in? And for heaven's sake, why all the lingo? Don't worry, we're here to stop your ADC getting ganked by junglers and let you know the best Dota 2 heroes to play with if you're a beginner. And down the line, when you're signing a professional contract, remember the little guys who helped you out along the way. And maybe subscribe to them, and give them a thumbs up. And just so we're clear, I'm talking about us right now.
Lich is basically everyone's first Dota hero, and it's not difficult to see why. He's got 4 simple point-and-click abilities, a big teamfight ultimate, doesn't need to farm very much, and is a pretty cool guy. One of his best abilities, Sacrifice, even lets you eat your own creeps and gain mana, so you pretty much always have a source of free spell juice. However, eating your own creeps also prevents the enemy from gaining experience from them, so even if you're full on mana, just take that ranged creep for a light snack, and you're already helping. You can also help more directly in teamfights by adding some frost armor to your friends, reducing the physical damage they take, as well as slowing down the attack speed of anyone who tries to punch them. Lich is a big fan of slow jams, his Frost Blast nuke also slowing movement speed, as well as dealing a huge amount of magic damage. But the Icy Necromancer's finest hour comes when the enemy groups up and you can let loose the Chain Frost. Ricocheting through a teamfight like a Sub-Zero pinball, sure to tilt the enemy team until they run away or face a cold, wintry death.
Watch your step. It's 6 feet down.
Frozen Death is a bit of a theme with good, noob-friendly supports, as Crystal Maiden confirms. A bit more offensive than old Lich, Rhyhorn can top up her team's mana, nuke, freeze and nuke again, all while moving as
swift as the wolves of Icerack.
Sadly, the wolves of Icerack must all be obese or permanently tired, as Crystal Maiden is going nowhere in a hurry. Luckily for you, neither are your enemies. Her basic nuke, Crystal Nova, is similar to Lich's Frost Blast, but affects a wider area. With it, you can catch fleeing foes in an icy blast, slowing them and dealing damage. That slow helps you catch up to use your next skill, Frostbite, rooting them to the floor for a few seconds until your friends can arrive and put the hurt on them. But if your friends are too far away, then CM can just do the job herself with her ultimate. Freezing Field is a channeled spell which whips up a huge ice storm around the not-so-fair maiden. The closer enemies are to her in the centre, the more likely they are to be hit by random explosions of ice for huge damage. And once the storm starts, if you're in the middle, the only way to stop it is to stun or kill her. Running isn't really an option, as the added slow will most likely mean you're dead before you can get to the edge. What fun!
It's all fun and games until someone's frozen solid.
Bridging the gap between offensive and defensive supports is Omni Knight, who, ignorant of the Hippocratic Oath, can both heal and harm. He does the majority of both through his first skill, Purify, which heals your friends while dealing the same damage in a small AoE around them. The neat thing about that is it's pure damage, so neither armor or magic resistance is saving anyone caught in the blast. Speaking of magic resistance, with Repel, Omni Knight can also gift 100% magic immunity to anyone, friend, foe, or, in the case of a very bad misclick, lowly creep. But if that's not enough protection, you can also call in a favour from the Omniscience to grant you and any allies around you total physical damage immunity. With Omni's final passive ability, Degeneration Aura, any enemies straying too near get slowed down and can't run away from your massive hammer. So you're a bit of a bully, basically.
Fear not, my friends. Our guardian is here.
You can't always rely on just slowing enemies down, however, and that's where Lion steps in. More of a master of hell than a king of the jungle, Lion's twisted sorcery can stun and hex enemies for an eternity if you time it right. Earth Spike, your first spell, sends a spiny ridge of rock across the floor and can hit multiple enemies to stun them. While stunned, you can then use Hex to turn one of them into a frog or a fish if you've got a fancy staff, further disabling them. To add insult to injury, while they flop around on the floor in amphibian confusion, you can use Mana Drain to relieve them of some mana and give yourself enough to use your final skill. Finger of Death is one of the best nukes in the game, doing between 600 and 850 magic damage in one sharp jolt. In most cases, this full combo won't leave much left of your enemy, or your mana reserves, but it's worth every single drop.
The lion's heart beats no more.
If you're looking to do even more damage, there are some pretty easy choices for you to make. Sniper, as his name may imply, can deal a deadly amount of physical damage from a long, long way away. As a carry, and unlike the previous supports, he doesn't get a lot out of abilities. and depends more on building items to snowball his super right-click damage. Of course, his spells help him get more clicks in, as Take Aim passively ups his attack range, and Headshot has a chance to apply movement and attack speed slows. But, if you need to add a bit more slow, Shrapnel launches a rain of shells on a target area to deal AoE damage and keep enemies in range. A Dragon Lance for even more range and a couple of attack speed or agility items like Yasha or a Butterfly will mean enemies start dying before they can even see you. And, once they've realised they need to try and run away, it's already too late. Sniper's ultimate, Assassinate, makes sure you can seal the deal. Lock on and wait for a single high damage bullet to zing across the map, no matter how far they run away from you.
If you want to do your damage a bit more up close and personal, Juggernaut is your man. A melee blade master, given the time to get online, he becomes almost unstoppable. A lot like Sniper, Jug's main source of damage is simply clicking on people, but a couple of his spells will also bring the pain train. Blade Fury, where Juggernaut channels his inner Beyblade, can deal a lot of damage in a circle around him. However, most usefully, it makes him magic immune too, giving you a panic button if you see an incoming stun or other disable. Blade Dance, his passive, amps your normal sword swings to occasionally throw in a critical strike for twice the hurt. If you find yourself taking too much damage, summon a tiny floating shrine that heals you over time. Then jump back into the action with your ultimate, Omni Slash, which is a bit like Lich's Chain Frost, but you are the Ice Ball. You jump from enemy to enemy, including creeps if they stray into the path, slashing them each time. If there's only one enemy in range to tank all the hits, then they end up getting the death by 1,000 cuts. Well, it's more like 3 to 9 cuts, but you get the idea.
To die at my hand is an honor.
If you don't always want to be jumping into fights, then there are other ways to win the game. Tinker, a skilled inventor who uses science instead of magic, has a pretty scary set of abilities, but is best suited to pushing out lanes. His ultimate ability, Rearm, resets the cooldowns of everything he owns. Abilities, items, you name it, after a short channeling time he can use it again. This includes teleportation items like TP, scrolls, or boots of travel, so Tinker can zoom around the map like a hyperactive neutrino, making sure there's always pressure on the side lanes. His other tools include calling upon an army of machines to march across an area around him, doing AoE damage to anything inside. Using this, you can quickly wipe out creep waves and be zipping off back to the fountain to refill your mana, or to another lane to do the same again, over and over. Doing this a lot nets you tons of gold, so you can buy other items to abuse your complete lack of cooldowns, like a damage-dealing Dagon or hexing Scythe of Vice. Turning up to a teamfight and spamming your other two abilities will quickly delete enemies from the game. Heat-seeking missiles to hit the two nearest heroes in range, and laser to damage and blind another so they can't land their attacks. Then rearm and do it all over again. And again. And again.
I've clamped the manifold parameters to CY base and LG orbifold, Hilbert inclusive.
Another pusher, but with more of a defensive approach, is Keeper of the Light. As a support, old Isilor isn't as concerned with farming gold and building a fearsome armory of swords to annihilate enemies with. However, his Illuminate ability will channel for a few seconds before sending a wave of horses made of light to wipe out the next gang of creeps they encounter. This makes him very good at pressuring or relieving the pressure of pushed lanes. This gets upgraded once he unlocks his ultimate, Spirit Form, so you can leave a remnant of yourself channeling away, reducing the risk of being caught while you're stood still summoning your Patronus. His other skills are some of the best support skills in the game, as Mana Leak will force foes to stop still or waste their own mana while running around. Meanwhile, Blinding Light causes knockback in an area while making everyone caught to miss their next attacks. And while in Spirit Form, you can recall an ally to you from anywhere on the map. The benefits of Spirit Form are given to you permanently after you grab an Aghanim Scepter, which gives you a reason to keep accidentally nuking down waves and stealing gold from your carry.
Surely there was blood before that one. I can't quite remember.
If you absolutely, positively have to get a fight started, there's only one fish for the job. Tidehunter has one of the best teamfight ultimates in the game, a huge radius AoE stun that sets your team up for an easy win. Ravage also has a pretty long cooldown, so try not to waste it accidentally, but as soon as you see 3 or more heroes grouped up together, and you've farmed enough for a Blink Dagger, it's time to party. Once you're in the thick of things, the rest of your kit is mainly geared to help you stay alive. Kraken Shell, a passive, gives Tide a good amount of damage block, while also purging him of any negative debuffs once he takes a certain threshold. So, you can never really get bogged down. Anchor Smash has a low cooldown, and helps you out by reducing the damage of anyone caught in the area around you. which makes your thick, crackly hide that much more effective. And if anyone tries to run away, spit a stream of seawater at them with Gush to slow them down and reduce their armour. Once you start the fight, it's only over once you're the one that says, Finn.
Let's catch this tide and catch them in it.
To complete our fishy pair of twisted fight starters, Naga Siren is the perfect partner to a good teamfight ultimate, or the perfect counter. Naga's ultimate, Song of the Siren, puts a halt on everything and sends all enemies in range to sleep. Sleeping folks can't be hurt like stunned folks can, so Song is more of a disengagement tool or a setup for something like Ravage. She can follow up a team-wide sleep with Ensnare to catch a priority target in a net, or preparing her illusions for the fight to follow. Naga's also a great split pusher, as her mirror image lets her create illusions of herself to send up lanes and act as low-risk wave clearing. Get a Radiance and a Manta style, and suddenly that's 5 Naga illusions running around the map for 30 seconds, burning everything around them. On top of that, each illusion does an AoE nuke when the main hero uses Riptide. With that amount of wave clear, it's extremely hard to stop a late game Naga Siren.
First blood! That sets the perfect note!
And that's how you win. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and all chat GG easy game if you learned something. If you think there's better heroes out there, then we're all ears. Just shout them out in the comments below. Thanks for watching.